Okay, so taste is intangible, so it's really, really hard to teach. And one thing I find myself struggling with is giving my clients good taste. Especially for newer ones, they really don't have an understanding of what it means to be them. So it's really hard to make content that's personal because they just don't know what they like. So I wanted to make a video on how to curate your own taste so that you can actually put it into your content and make some really cool stuff, which also will help you stand out because no one is going to have your exact taste. And you can tell when someone has taste versus when they don't. It's that concept of people who just like get it. Again, it's just an intangible thing that some people have and some people don't, but it's not something that's innate. It's taught and it's teachable. And when it comes down to it, a person's aesthetics are just a collections of their taste. But the problem again is that because art is subjective, both cool and shitty can be in good taste. Like for this shot in my most recent video, I was filming it on my iPhone and it looked terrible, so I just leaned into it and made it more aesthetic with like a VHS take. It was shitty, but because I leaned into that, it became cool. So it really like, you can really go anywhere with this. So first I'm gonna walk you through what taste is in general, what does it mean, where does it come from? Then we're gonna use those principles to build your taste, and then we're gonna see if the taste that you built is bad, and then we're gonna find out what that means for your content and your personal brand. Sound good, partner? So what is taste? So taste has three main staples: practical design principles like composition and rule of thirds. For short form, the composition should mostly be centric, but when long form, you can really rip all of these mamma jammas that I'll put up on screen. Like I said, it's subjective. If it looks cool to you, it'll look cool to other people, most likely if your taste is good. The second is color theory. Just look at like a basic color wheel, or like there's a ton of palette websites that exist on the internet. The colors go together or they don't, really. Or you can also play into that. You know, there's neutral colors, really high contrasting colors. Just make sure you're using colors that go together rather than ones that kind of clash and take away from what you're trying to present, unless that's the aesthetic. And the third is typography or font. It can really be up to you, whatever you like. I would say stay away from like the Mr. Beast-esque fonts because I feel like those kind of feel corporate and bold almost. And I feel like people are just desensitized to them because of how much they're used. So it's actually better now to go down the more raw path and find a font that's more personal to you that you like rather than what's going to perform better, because no one has ever followed someone based off what the font their caption is in. Like that's not what makes the video perform good. There are millions and millions and millions of font. Why would you pick one that other people are using? That just doesn't make any sense at all. Like, how are you supposed to be personal if you're just, don't get me started on it. And when you're doing research on all these principles, kind of understand how it has been played out in a historical context. What was the trending aesthetic of like the 80s versus now? There's obviously that nostalgic feel, but why is it so nostalgic? Why do people like it so much that they want things to revert back to it? And then think of how that aesthetic, played into worldwide trends. The music of the time, the politics of the time, literally everything. Collective taste is something really, really powerful. And when a lot of people can get behind something, that's when big changes happen. But we have to understand why people are getting behind these big movements, through the principles I discussed. General taste is subtle, but it's still something crucial to the human being, right? Even cavemans were doing like drawing, so they had to have some taste, you know what I mean? And it's okay to like base your taste off of other people's opinions. So if you are like, doing this research and you find someone who has a good opinion, if you agree with that opinion, that is just now part of your taste. They don't own the opinion that they have. Obviously make sure you're sourcing it from the right thing, but just, ask around, like ask what people think, like really make it an open discussion. Because while you develop your taste, you don't want to be in an entire vacuum. Obviously you want to stick to your guns and understand what you like and why you like it. But a part of the taste discussion is just, collaborating with other people and understanding why they like their own taste. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. Now that we have a general understanding of the basics, how do we build our own? What I did, and I went from like middle school drip, like neon pants and stuff, to actually, I would say, like a decent understanding of basic proportion of fashion and how to dress remotely nicely. Literally just take a peep at cool stuff daily. For me, before I started a personal brand, I just deleted Instagram and I would rip Pinterest. I remember I'd be like sitting in college class and I would just be scrolling, looking at cool stuff, saving it, making some cool boards. For me, that's really how I understood like what I liked in terms of room decor and men's fashion. I made it a personal goal of mine to have like every single piece in my closet be something that I could pick out and enjoy. So I don't have very many clothes, but the clothes I do have, like they all go together very nicely. That might be the autism in me talking, but it's awesome. While I was looking at everything, I was really contemplating the craftsmanship. Like, what is the quality of work I'm looking at? Like, is it well made? Is it, some slop somewhere? And is it accomplishing what it was created to do? I know it's more philosophical, but think of this sweater. This sweater has some guys on it. And the goal is to, one, look cool, and two, be a sweater. And I think it's doing a pretty great job at that. Taking a second to consume intentionally and really understand, the processes and thought and taste that people put into the things that make up your taste is going to be really beneficial. This could be a journaling exercise where you're going through and, asking yourself about the things you consumed and why they made you feel the way they feel. Because if you're someone who doom scrolls a lot or watches a lot of things passively, that is really, really negatively affecting your taste. Because odds are if you are doom scrolling, you're watching brain rot slop, and that is going to play into what you enjoy and what you like. So instead of, doom scrolling and watching all these things passively, you need to be consuming in one of two ways. Either you're not consuming at all because you have other things to do and you just, it's okay to sit with your thoughts for a second. Or two, you're consuming intentionally and really digesting what you're processing so you understand what you like about the thing. So, one, your algorithm gets a lot more curated to like what you actually like. And it's just nicer because you know you're not wasting your time. You're actually working to develop something that's going to benefit you in the long run. I feel so serious this video. And in terms of how to actually accomplish this, whenever you see something, like intentionally ask yourself, why do people like this? Do I like this? And why? And what does this make me feel or think? And if you can answer those questions for every single piece of content or anything you consume, but if it's a painting, a song, really anything, you're going to have such a fundamental understanding of like what you innately like. And what I like to do is like, whenever I'm scrolling reels, I'll save a bunch of videos and I'll go back later and I'll journal and I'll answer these questions myself and really, digest the information. A lot of people save videos but never go back to watch them. And I don't want to be one of those people, and I don't want you to be one of those people either, because, you're missing out on taste development, right? And if this feels tedious, like, I want you to think about who else do you know that does this, right? Because of that, if you're setting yourself apart by, actually taking time to curate your taste, when you go and make things and produce things, they're going to have better taste than if that person went and did them. And thus, you're already setting yourself ahead just by taking time to find out what you actually like to do and make and create. And we'll get into this in the content section, but this taste will literally be reflected in every single decision you make. So it further extends your brand and pushes your brand forward. So like, even without thinking now, I feel like my videos feel like Jackson Sword videos just because I understand what I like. And of course, my taste is always evolving. I've changed my content style pretty drastically, like multiple times now. But because of the underlying tone of me, it's not jarring for the audience. And you'll know you're doing this right too when what you watch, wear, and buy start to align. And it's just a good signifier of like, okay, like I've really taken the time to do this, and now everything I'm shown is something that I'm actually going to care about. Because I feel like there's so much slop on there, and why would we want to waste our time with things we don't need to be seeing? And a fantastic way to practice this too is just to go thrifting. If you can take a room full of like old people clothes and make a bomb ass fit, you really do truly understand like composition, color theory, like vibe, literally everything. Not to toot my own horn, but I did thrift this. And also keep in mind that your taste is literally going to change forever as long as you live. Like as you get older, you're going to like different things, and that's completely okay. And it's just going to be, that's just a part of life, right? That's a part of enjoying artistic, creative things. And now it's time to find out if your taste is straight ass after all of this work that you've put in to make it not, to make it not that. And like I mentioned before, this is actually pretty easy because all it takes is your ability to back it up. Like if you're able to stand on business when people like counter or question your take, that means you've studied your taste enough to know it innately. And in that sense, I believe it to be good. Now, in terms of like social proof testing, that kind of comes into the content side. Because while you may like something, a lot of other people don't. And that really just depends on how niche you want to be. Obviously, mass appeal is kind of dying out, in my opinion. People want to feel niche and indie without having to search for it, if that makes sense. Like, look at Marty Supreme, for example. Like, A24 is pretty large, but their marketing campaign made everyone feel like they were in this cult thing. So it felt like unique to you and personal, like the movie was speaking to you, but everyone was agreeing that it was awesome. And I feel like that is like the perfect example of how people need to do it, because obviously it had a record-breaking box office for them, right? And to that note, like with content, people are either going to, one, they're going to make fun of you because your taste is dumb, or two, they're going to comment because it's really cool. Even if they might put a cool GIF in there, and that's how you know you're really done this super well. And again, to that point, like no one's going to comment based off like a mediocre emotion. So either they're going to hate it enough to want to make fun of you, or they're gonna think it's cool enough to be like, I have to tell this person that I appreciated this. It's a fantastic signifier when people with curated taste, with larger followings based on their taste or liking your taste. That's how you know you're kind of in a nice place where your taste is unique enough to intrigue people, but it's also agreeable enough for people, like it and want to interact with it, right? And when it comes down to incorporating your taste in content, it just needs to be a facet of every single thing you do with it, right? Your taste needs to permeate in your script, your shots, your editing, like all of the decisions that you're making need to align with your taste. And when you do that, you make something that's so uniquely you, and I really feel that that's what the world needs more of, right? Rather than just, more 5 viral tips to, like, shut the fuck up, actually. And if you're having trouble, imbuing your taste and stuff, like, pull from Pinterest, pull from these websites. Like, take the resources you have, understand what you think is cool, try your best to recreate it, and eventually you're going to have, even if a little bit janky, like, remember, shit is an aesthetic. It's fine. Just lean into it. Like, people are so caught up in like, oh, it's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. You're not good at this. So many of my clients just, they second guess themselves and all this stuff. But if they can really take the time to make such a fantastic video that no one can ignore it, like it's going to stand out. Like my lead editor, Logan, he just posted a video that got like 1.7 million views right there. His brand is going to be so personal because he's done everything in his exact style. And I'll have that link below. But yeah, he just knows what his taste is, and he knows how to put it into stuff. And it's not perfect. It's not, 100% perfect, but he's an artist, and he knows that. So when people appreciate his art, he feels good because his taste is good, and people like him because of his taste. And to cap this point off, just try. Like, just for once in your life, man, try. Like, I'm just talking to you, like, you're watching these YouTube videos, you're like, oh, this next one's gonna... No, go try something. Do what I'm talking about. Make a cool video. Make a shitty video. I don't care. Just try something. How long are you gonna sit there and be like, oh, if I watch one more video, I might actually get... No, like, curate your taste, get it done, whatever. Try it out. Give it a shot. Give it a go. God damn it. And if you need help building your taste, that's what creative directors are for. Boop. And you can learn more about that in the description below. All right. I'll see you next week.